In this video, I'm going to cover using the Future Builder with Infinite List View. So using the Future Builder works great to render widgets in the future. So I'll start off by constructing a Future Builder widget, and then I'll show the state changes of the Future Builder. After that, I'll use the Future Builder to render my list view with some values, the data that loads in the future. Okay, so to get started, I'm going to go to my emulator and IDE that I've already loaded. I've created a simple application, removed the comments, and simplified the structure. So to get started, on my home page here, I want to add a list view in the future after my data loads. So this is great for async data loads, and depending on how the data is loaded, I can render the data accordingly. So what I want to do to start is replace my text widget with a future builder so I can build something in the future. So I'm going to declare future builder, and then I'm going to hoist it up to a little higher so it's easier to read for this tutorial. So var future builder equals new future. I'm going to hit autocomplete by hitting enter, and it gives me the first parameter I need to complete. So I want to instantiate the builder, and what that will be is a function. So how do I do the function? So I'm going to go ahead and command click and go in and figure out what the async widget builder is. So it's a type def, so it's basically an interface. So what I want to do is copy this here, because it didn't autocomplete. This is just one way to do it. Sometimes I think I've had it autocomplete, but in this case it didn't. So I'm just going to create a function that's anonymous in line here, and then I'm going to remove the generic. Okay, so there we go. So auto format. Okay, now that I have the builder created, what I want to do is add the state management inside the block of the builder. Okay, so what I want to do is actually command click on the future builder to go to the docs. I'm going to scroll up and copy this switch statement that has the connection state. So this manages the state of the future builder. So I'm looking for this bracket to the end of the switch bracket. So I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to go back to the main. Now there's a lot of different ways you can construct this, and I'm just going to show you my favorite way. And I usually go to the command, hit command click on the builder and just go up and look at the docs, copy, and then remove the comments. And so what I want to do is remove these comments. So what I'll do is use auto assist, and that was command question mark on mine, but in this case it doesn't understand how to invert the comments yet. So I'm going to go ahead and go command R, which uses a replace. It might be control R on your IDE, and it just depends on your key bindings. Okay, so I'm going to go replace, and then I'm going to do auto format at the end. And let's see, it didn't understand auto format yet, so I'm going to go where I hit the wrong key. Okay, so there we go. I have my future builder, so let's run that and see what that looks like. So I hit hot reload, the lightning icon over here, and see. You can go command S for save, and it will do the same thing. So press button to start. So that's exactly what I want. So let me explain these connection states. So obviously I don't have the future wired up, which is the async call or function that will get my data and return it. So my connection state stays out of a state none. And this will make a little bit more sense in a second here, or a moment. And so we have press button to start. We can see that in our Android emulator over here, press button to start. Well, let's say we have a loading state while we're getting the data per se. We could say awaiting result, and I'll show how to trigger this in a moment. And then if there was an exception thrown, we could throw an error. It says error snapshot error, and then a text. But what if I wanted to change the widget that is shown to say, let's say none and waiting would say loading while I go get my data, which is a future thing. I'm going to go get the data, and then sometime in the future it will return. And on return of on a successful return, I'll render the list view. So that's what I want to do next. But in order to do that, I have to get some data, so let me construct that. Okay, so the next step is I want to get some data in the future. So to wire that up, I'm going to declare future, the future parameter, and it's going to be a function just to make it easy to extract for this tutorial. And I like doing this in my own code as well. So I'm going to say get data, and I'm going to hit Alt Enter to autocomplete. So I'm going to create a method. A function would be outside the class. I'm going to hit right here, if I don't hit return before this red is done, I could cause a syntax error up above. So let me hit enter. Okay, so now it's finished creating. So let's just format it, and I'm going to go ahead and declare the type it's going to return, just so it makes a little bit more sense. I'm going to go future, and I'm going to return a list of strings, and I'm going to make some animals to return. So I'm going to return some values. Okay, so I gotta load the library into this class path. So I'm gonna hit Alt-Enter to import the library, and that auto imports it and adds it to the top. So I'm gonna declare the values now. Var values equals new, and it's gonna be a list of strings or an array of strings. So then, oh look, I have an error in the return. Well, I haven't properly constructed my future if I want to write this in a linear block format. It's now expecting like a command pattern where it has a callback, and you could use a completer to do this, but it's simpler just to go async and it will automatically wire it up for you. So now that it's not having an error, I can complete the values. So I'm going to add, let's say, horses, and then values add goats, and then values.add chickens. Okay, so there's my 3 values. Okay, let's see what this looks like. I'm going to hit save. Command saves, auto shortcut to reload it. Over here on the emulator, I see result, horses, goats, and chickens. Well, if I look at add, it's just simply putting that array into a string and printing it right here as results. Let's say, what happens if I threw an exception? Let's just throw an exception just to see what would happen. So I'm going to go, let's see, how do I do that? Throw new exception, and I'm going to give it a message. Danger, Will Robinson. Okay, let's see. I'm going to save. That'll return. Okay, it's in debug mode, so it breaks on that. I'm going to hit resume. Okay, over here, error, exception, danger, Will Robinson. And I can see that I controlled how it manages the state up here in the switch statement. So it doesn't have a none awaiting, it has an error in the default conditional here, and it prints the error. So let's say I want to, let's get rid of this. I'll just comment that out for now. And what I want to do up here is change this construction. So let's say when I'm none, I'm going to remove this because I'm going to have the two none and waiting just say, instead of saying waiting, I'm just going to say loading. So let's see, loading. Oh, can't see that. So let's see, how would I see loading? So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to wait another future. So I'm going to go new future. This is pretty cool how this can be wired up. And you simply just say new duration. And for the duration, I'm going to say seconds. I give it, let's say, 5 seconds. And then I'm going to hit auto or terminate that line there. Okay, I'm going to save it. It auto reloads. So you can see over here on the left, it says loading now. Now this is not pretty. Okay, now it shows the result. So I was able to retrieve some data in the future and display it. Well, let's say take it one step further and put that data into a list view, something a little bit more pretty. So what I want to do is replace this with the list view. But instead of doing this right here inside this future, I'm going to extract it into a method. So I'm going to go create list view, and then I'm going to pass it the context and snapshot. Now I could use another widget as well to do this, like a stateful widget, but in this case I'll just make it a method to keep it simple for this tutorial. There's always a lot of different ways and roads you can go down in constructing, but this is just to give you an idea of the context of constructing a future builder. Okay, so I'm going to create a method. It pops down. I got to hit autocomplete, so I'm going to hit enter, enter, return, enter, return, whatever it is on your operating system. Okay, so I have a method here. Let's just collapse the package view on the left. Okay, so what I want to do is create a list view. So I'm going to return a list view here, list view widget, new list view. And it's going to be a builder. I want to use the builder to create an infinite list view. So I'm going to hit enter and terminate that. Okay, so it has an item builder. Let me just format this a little bit differently here. Okay, so the item builder, it will be, let's see if, let's see. Nope, No auto assist yet. Okay, so what I'm going to do is show you how to get that or figure out how to create an item builder. So I'm going to hit Command click on the item builder, and it is an index widget builder. So I'm going to Command click on that and go to index. Okay, so this is an interface, and I'm going to copy the function parameters that I want to construct, and then I'm going to go back to my main and just create an inline function by pasting that and using brackets to finish the function definition, and I could put a comma there to trail it. Okay, so now what I want to do is construct my item builder. So what do I want to do is feed it the values. So let's just define the values, just declare them to show you what I'm working with. So I'm going to say this is a list of strings, and there's going to be my values equals snapshot. The data is in the snapshot under data. So now I have the data, and I want to give it how many items. Okay, so let's go control click item count values dot length, and that will tell the list builder it has this many items, so that way it'll get a null exception here for getting an index that's out of range. So now I want to construct my widget. What do I want to do for my widget? So I'm going to use a column with a divider to start. So I'm going to go return new column, and I'm going to hit enter, and then I'll finish that. Oh, that's a return, so that's a semicolon. So then I'm going to, my children will be a new divider, put a divider on the bottom, divide, new divider. Okay, let's see, I don't have, okay, I want to add a height to it, say 2 pixels. Okay, and then the next one will be a new list tile. This is great for showing list items, list tile. Okay, and comma, for some reason, auto assist, and then the title will be values. Oh, can't do that. New text. I want to say text widget, and then I'm going to go values and retrieve the values by index. Okay, so that will say, let's just review this. I created an infinite list video builder. I told it how many items are in the list. Then for each item, when it's rendered to the screen, it will run this function and say, okay, create me a widget. And this widget will have a divider at the bottom that's 2 pixels high, or give or take, depending on the density, I think. And then it's going to create a list tile for each item. And the title of that list tile will be the values, which should be horses, goats, and chickens. So I'm going to hit save and see what happens here. Now we see loading, because it's going to take 5 seconds. It's loading my data. It could go off to the server, and bang! It shows my infinite list view, horses, goats, and chickens. So that's pretty slick and simple to construct a future builder. So that's all the bits I wanted to show how to create a future builder today. Let me review real quick what I showed you or what I created today, and I'll put this in the video comments below as a gist so you can go copy the code. If you don't want to construct it on your own, you can copy the code and put it in an app and experiment by yourself. So let me look at it. So I have a simple application. It has a home page. This home page is a staple widget. When the home page is rendered, it says, okay, Future Builder is the widget, but it's going to provide the widgets during the different connection states. So during the connection state none and waiting, which it is determined by getting the data, it will wait until the future is returned to render the list view. So before that, we'll show none, it'll show loading, and if there's an error, it will show the text, it has an error. Now, once the future has loaded the data, it will pass that data to create list view, and it will render this widget. List view.builder builds the widget, and the item builder for each item, it will build a column with a divider and a list tile on top. So that's pretty slick to create a simple list view in the future after some data is loaded. So in the future, keep your eyes peeled on my videos. I'll show different ways to use the Future Builder to construct widgets. Thanks for watching today. Follow me for more tips and tricks, and I'll catch you later.